Hey, it's Dante again. Oh my God, it's been how long since I've posted a video? A couple of years? Anyway, I'm gonna try this series, guys. We're gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna actually try something. This series I'm going to call Spark Notes. And the point of this series is basically to look at a political or philosophical topic and give like this brief overview of it, or to address some misconceptions about a political or philosophical topic. Okay, just a very brief video touching on some sort of misconception. It's not an in-depth analysis of the topic. There are plenty of boring YouTube channels that you can go to that will do a 2-hour-long analysis on if the color green is materially real or not. Okay, that is not the point of this particular video. The point of this particular video is to address a misconception. That misconception being, can people seize the means of production? What does seizing the means of production mean? Now, some housekeeping before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the video. This is not a video in favor of any particular mode of economic organization, nor is it a video against any particular mode of economic organization. This is not me bashing capitalism, nor is it me bashing socialism, nor is it me promoting either. It is just addressing a common misconception I see, or I have increasingly seen online. That is very silly. Now let's get into the misconception. The misconception is that there is no plausible way for working class individuals in the Western world, specifically the United States, to seize the means of production. Now, the common argument made, which is correct, is that there really isn't the economic conditions, there really aren't the economic conditions that, for example, Marx was talking about when he was writing the Communist Manifesto or Das Kapital or Critique of the Gotha program, okay? You know, in Marx's time, there were factories and mines and, places where within England, where he lived for a lot of his writing career, and within Germany, where he lived as well, where individuals could go and extract resources and then bring them to a factory and then turn them into commodities that are then directly sold. If you look at this funny little graph I'm going to post, that makes up under 20% of the American economy today. Over 80% of it is like the service sector. So we're talking about like retail work, being a bartender, a waitress, or white collar, like corporate administrative jobs, okay? Like for a tech company or something like salesman positions. Okay, very good. So they will say that, all right, since there aren't means of production, that being factories or farms or mines or whatever, really in the United States anymore, there are no means of production to seize, and they'll make the cheeky joke that you'd have to invade like China or India or Southeast Asia or whatever to seize the means of production, because that's where things are being produced. And in general, this is a nice understanding of this lovely thing that we call the supply chain. Yes, there are primary, secondary, and tertiary economic markets that exist due to capitalism's globalization. Congratulations, you've gotten through Econ 101. Unfortunately, they're kind of misunderstanding the concept behind seizing the means of production. They're taking it too literally. They think it literally means to seize productive forces, like economic machines that produce commodities. Now, that is its common use, and it was used in that way because in the time where it was really being talked about and discussed, that being the 19th and later 20th centuries, yes, there was a lot of industry in the Western world, and a lot of early socialists like Marx or Proudhon were concerned with seizing control of factory work and mines, but that's just a means to an end. The end is the control of surplus by the working class, as opposed to the control of surplus by either some individual or some family or some shareholders, okay? So what seizing the means of production means, in actuality, beyond some sort of vague platitude, is it means that the surplus generated by an economy, be it through the production of a commodity or the exchange of a commodity, and the labor that goes into it is controlled by the people that do the labor, okay? So, for example, if you're working a retail job, you're not really producing the commodities that you are selling. You are just stocking them. You are learning about them. You understand their utility, so you can inform people coming into your store, and they can buy your stuff. If you're doing a tech job, you are, doing coding, or maybe you're a tech salesman, so you learn about this particular computer program and you try to sell it, okay? There is still labor going into that is producing value, okay? And that value is in the exchange of the commodity being sold for money. Again, 5th grade understanding of economics, like this is not very difficult. What corporate entities under capitalism will do, again, this is very simplified, is they will get a commodity either through offshoring production of it, either through like a shell company or directly, or they will just buy it from a third-party producer. In any case, they have some sort of cost that goes into producing the commodity, and then they will bring it over to a place like the United States, and then they will mark up the price of the commodity compared to how much monetary effort or how much monetarily went into procuring the commodity so that they can turn a profit. Unfortunately for them, you still do need some amount of labor to sell these commodities, as we just discussed earlier with the example of the retail worker or with the computer salesman or the computer programmer or whatever. You still require some amount of labor to be added on to complete the sale, so you can turn a profit, okay? So seizing the means of production in the Western world would mean something like the workers of a particular firm or of a particular business, or just generally, have control of the surplus. So instead of the money going directly to some sort of board of directors or the shareholders or some individual or some family after the point of sale, that surplus value is held by the workers. Now, how do you actually do this? That's kind of beyond the point of the video, but briefly, I guess you could go for some sort of mutualist perspective where you have a ton of workers' cooperatives where workers of these individual localized firms will pay out of pocket for commodities, and then whatever profit they derive, they share amongst themselves. You could do it through a state, like traditional socialism we have seen in our world, where the state owns production and then will sort of, the state is theoretically at least democratic, and it plans the economy, and then the surplus value is distributed to the workers according to the amount of work they put in. There's tons of ways you can do this, but the point is, you can seize the means of production. You can seize surplus value away from capitalists in a primary economic, in these service sector driven economies, right? The workers, either collectively as a cooperative, control the management of their individual local firm, and they control the surplus derived from it. So they together collectively work to make sales, and then whatever profit they derive from it, they share amongst themselves, probably according to the amount of labor an individual put in, or you have some sort of state entity control this. But the point is, as long as there is profit being derived from an economic model, which, unless your economic model is not very sophisticated, you will probably have some sort of profit derived from it. There is still a way to take that profit and move it into different hands. In this case, from the hands of your business owners or your shareholders, and into the hands of the laborers. So no, you don't in fact have to invade China or India or Southeast Asia to seize the means of production. As fun as that would be, and as much as I might personally enjoy that, we don't get to have this fun little side quest. We don't have to have this fun little LARPy excursion to seize the means of production. Now, again, to finish the video, this is not me saying you should seize the means of production or you should advocate for that. I'm also not saying you shouldn't do that or advocate for it, okay? I'm just saying it's plausible, okay? It's not this impossible pipe dream like a lot of people make it seem to be. And I guess the concluding remark would be, a lot of the people that say this unironically base their economic beliefs on Catholic social teaching. If you base your beliefs economically on Catholic social teaching, I think that you have a malformed brain, and your prefrontal cortex is probably not fully developed. But anyway, that's really all I have to say. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Just so awesome. Like and subscribe right now.